Today we're gonna make cabbage stew. It's a stuffed cabbage, but without it being stuffed. So we're gonna start with a few ingredients, very simple. Fresh parsley, white cabbage, garlic, zucchini if you want, kosher salt, only salt that you should be using for cooking, 1 cup of rice, a yellow onion, ground beef, can of diced tomatoes, dried parsley if you'd like, pepper, ground cloves, allspice, a little something that I've just discovered, sumac, and it's fantastic. So the first thing we want to do is we want to boil 2 cups of water. There we go. So while this water brings to a boil, grab your beautiful head of cabbage and then just peel off the first few layers. I like cutting the bottom off, and it doesn't have to be pretty. Again, I did not go to culinary school, so my technique may not be correct. Some of the stuff I do may not be correct food stuff. All right, so now that that's cut, you want to fill this beautiful Dutch oven with water. You don't have to use a Dutch oven if you can afford it. I highly suggest picking one up. You're gonna bring this one to a boil. Oh, always salt your rice water. While this comes up to a boil, I'll continue doing this. I think we just kind of want to break off the cabbage. It doesn't have to be cut beautifully, but you don't want it to be ugly, you know. This is the kind of dish that does great in the fridge. Keep it in there for 3 days and it just keeps getting better and better and better. So this is boiling. Add 1 cup of water, rice. Shake a little and then bring it to low and cover it for 15 minutes. In the meantime, let's grab our onion. So this particular recipe calls for dill. I'm not a huge fan of dill. I'm not using dill. But if you think that it's delicious, go for it. That's what I like about cooking. It's not, you can finagle. It's not like baking where it's like if you get one thing off, the whole thing is ruined. Now when you're cutting an onion, always make sure to grab the onion like this. I'm allergic to a lot of stuff too, dairy and eggs, so everything I cook is dairy and egg free. A lot of Mediterranean dishes, of course, have labneh and that kind of stuff. You can customize, you don't have to use. That's what I like about food, you can add your own pizzazz. 3 cloves of garlic. Ooh, that rice looks good. All right, so we dice the garlic. I don't think you could ever taste too much like garlic properly, so you know, that's good. So, garlic done. Zucchini. By the way, forgot to mention, you're also going to need broth. You don't have to use broth. I use beef stock. You could use chicken. We need about 4 cups so that I have enough to cover the stew. Let's get our spices together. Vote for the spices. All right, so we will need 1 teaspoon ground cumin. I don't have cumin. Well, this is a disaster. We'll start with the allspice. 1 teaspoon allspice. Teaspoon. Big one. I'm going to do about half a teaspoon of cloves, which might be a lot of clove, but I think it'll be fine. That's a lot of, whatever. Okay, so the water's finally boiling. Woo! So let that boil for a few. So since I don't have cumin, I want to put the sumac right in this mix. How much sumac? Does that look like a lot of sumac? Salt. We always need salt. You can put salt in there. Might as well. The rice needs about 2 more minutes. Pepper to taste, about a 1/4 teaspoon. I think that's what that is. I don't know. Fresh parsley. So once that boils for a little bit, I think the term is blanched. You blanch it, blanched over. I don't know. Cooking would be so nice if it weren't so messy. The rice is also done now. You can turn it off. Move it a little bit out of the way, out of the heat. And then very carefully, because these do tend to get very hot, very heavy, you want to drain the cabbage. See? Hot! So this cabbage is let it cool down for a little bit. Now the next part is very important. Get a few paper towels, clean it off, dry it. Because now the cooking is actually going to begin. And now we add my favorite thing in the world, olive oil. Then we turn the heat back on. I don't know what that ends up actually being, but you know, not too hot. I want to keep it real. Is this hot? Yeah, that's hot. All right, onions go in. I'll say that, baby. A bit more to go. Yeah, that looks like it's getting pretty translucent. Okay. Oh yeah, now it's the good stuff. Now we add the garlic. Then we add the ground beef. grass-fed, grass-finished. So now you're just kind of sauteing the ground beef. And if you're Latino, carnecita molida. I'm gonna switch from the spatula to the spoon. By the way, when you're cooking rice, once it's done and you're kind of ready to serve, you always want to fluff it a little. It does smell fantastic though. Oh my god. That's almost done. I'm going to start opening up broth. Alright! And you have to drain after you're done with the ground beef from the Dutch oven. And I feel like the easiest way to do that is scoop out and then just now that that's all kind of drained, just put it off to the side. It doesn't have to be perfect, it's just the excess oil. And now the fun actually starts. So turn the heat back on, number one. Turn the heat back on. Pour the meat back in. Pour the cabbage in, finally. Pour your fantastic spice mix, like that. Parsley, clean a pan with the paste. And I'm doing zucchini because I like to live on the edge. Just kind of mix it up a little. Then you add the rice. Look at this color. It's beautiful! And now is when the broth comes in. Yeah, see, I was right. You do need two, but you don't always need to. I think it just depends on how much you're cooking and the size of the Dutch oven or the not Dutch oven that you're using. Woo! Spilling all over the place. So you stir, bring this to a boil. Finish the boil fairly quickly. Ah, come on. This is boiling-ish. Boiling on the side. Now that it boils, you want to put it on low. Bring it to a lower heat. Cover and let simmer for 15 to 20 minutes. I am going to go watch Call the Midwife. Listen, I didn't follow the recipe exactly how you're supposed to. I'm sure I kind of mangled it, and I'm sorry to the lovely people at the Mediterranean dish. But, I'm sure it'll be delicious. It'll be fine. Now this is something that keeps fantastic in the fridge for the next few days. You can serve it with bread, you can serve it as an entree, you can serve it as an appetizer, you can serve it by itself, you can serve it with a little bit of olive oil, some parsley if you want. And I've got my very festive dishes. Now, I don't know if you've noticed, but I have a bad habit. Well, I have many bad habits, but one really bad one where I don't taste my food as I cook. So I never know how it's going to taste until the end, but this smells right. Let's see. Oh yeah. Woo. It's hot, but it's delicious. I hope that I didn't confuse you guys too much, and I hope that you guys can make this at home. Don't forget the cumin, or forget the cumin. As long as it's delicious, that's all that matters. Look at that.